Yeah, we're doing another podcast, and we have a couple things we're going to go over, obviously, about real estate. And one of the things we wanted to catch up on is your water leak on your 3 units. A couple videos ago we talked about some challenges both you and I were going through, but we never caught up with your water leak. How's that going?
Oh yeah, so the water leak. So fast forward, it's been a few months, and we filed an insurance claim because it was extensive. So we did that. We hired a contractor. Right. That's a good way to put it. But at the end of the day, the insurance adjuster's there to minimize the cost for the insurance company.
Yeah. Even
if they're nice, even if they're like, oh yeah, we'll help you, they don't help you.
Right.
You have to fight. We fought tooth and nail just to get enough money to cover the contractor, and it was not enough. It was a fight every single week.
Dang.
So fast forward.
So typical insurance,
typical insurance.
You pay for them, and then when you need them, you have to fight tooth and nail to get anything out of them. Okay, so it sounds like you had that experience.
Yeah, we did, and luckily the unit is finally done as of yesterday. Tenants moved in last Saturday, so I was able to market the property. I marketed the property, got somebody to sign a lease, and we got them in there soon. The property wasn't completely finished, but we got the lease. I took a chance anyway.
Yeah, to get it leased before it was 100% ready is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I'm not like going into the next month and then another month of rent that I'm gonna lose, and then the insurance doesn't pay for the business loss.
Right.
It's like I'm not taking that chance, so I'll market the property.
Yeah, I would too.
Even if it's not finished, I'll start screening people. So we got somebody to sign a lease. They moved in. They're finding things that are happening that are not done. So I'm like, contractor, go back and fix it. And even that, we dealt with somebody that we had previously dealt with 7 years ago, because he's familiar with filing for insurance claims. He uses the same software, so we used him for several things. We had some hiccups with him and some pushback, but at the end of the day, is like we're paying you. Like, you're getting paid for that stuff, and if you didn't like it, you shouldn't have taken the job. So just holding the contractor accountable to what they said they would do.
Right.
Which has been another thing. So we're still not completely done with the project, I would say, closing it out, but we're almost there.
But tenants in there paying, and you got reimbursed from the home from the insurance, everything but the utilities. Is that right?
Yeah, they don't pay for utility. Well, they pay for electricity. They don't pay for the water loss. They don't pay for gas.
I see. Okay.
They pay for the rent, for the business loss of income. So they pay for that.
Oh, they did?
Because it's an add-on on your insurance.
Got it.
So make sure you have it. Okay. So if you don't have...
It's only an extra $5,000, but make sure you... I'm kidding.
If you have a water leak and you don't have that business income loss insured, what do you get? Nothing. So yes, you do pay a little bit more, and honestly, it's worth the amount you pay per year.
Well, this one it was.
Generally, that one doesn't happen.
So. Right, which is good. But dude, I mean, good for you guys that the unlikely chance it did happen, but fortunately you chose to correct on that one item.
Why do you have car insurance?
I don't want car insurance because of the same bullshit that you're dealing with.
Okay, what if you pull out of a parking spot and you hit somebody with 2.5 kids?
I would never do that.
Right.
But well, that's good that you got paid almost everything plus a rental loss.
So
which was about 1 month?
No, 2 months.
It was 2. Okay.
2.5. So it was
interesting.
March 17th through the end of the month, because the leak started
it's half a month.
Early March. So half a month.
April
and May.
Got it. Okay. Well, good.
So it was 2.5 months.
That adds
realistically, as an owner, though, it was more like 3.
Got it. Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So as an owner, operator, you're going to be dealing with it for probably 2 months, depending how.
And
fast
now you have so that fast forward, it's done. Tenants in there.
Yep.
You're still dealing with a couple little. Naturally, there's going to be some stuff that tenants going to, bitch about, especially if they are paying, a top rent, right? They're gonna want to ask for the moon and the stars when something breaks. So you're dealing with that. That should be done in a couple weeks. And then, are you getting the same rent amount that you did 2.5 months ago, or?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So obviously we've heard about the cons. It sucks, no matter what. In summary, it sucks going through it. It's just part of being a property owner. But in hindsight, though, we are getting per month $250 more than the previous tenant that didn't want to stay or didn't want to move back into the unit. So it's actually working out pretty well because now, especially,
and that person was a pretty good tenant too.
Yeah,
like they had a good experience with them, but they just like,
Yeah.
hey, I can't live in a water infected place for 2.5 months, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So luckily for us, great tenants.
Good.
The ones that left, the ones that moved in, we've been very blessed, and we're getting $250 more per month on that same unit.
With the new tenant, yeah.
With a new
that's
tenant,
great.
that's super excited. And so you just like, you go through some struggles and some speed bumps, but then at the end of the day, you're going to probably end up winning anyways.
Yeah.
And it also, let's say the unit was not remodeled, that would be the perfect opportunity for us to remodel the unit because you don't go to the store and buy old cabinets.
Right.
If your cabinets...
If everything else is remodeled. Right.
Right. Even then, let's say the cabinets were not new. Let's say it was old. It was original 1962. You have damage, water damage. Those cabinets, if they're wet, they have to be replaced.
Right.
Can you go to the store? Can you go to Home Depot and buy old cabinets?
Well, especially if insurance is paying for it. Right. I would get brand new.
So I know, right? So that's another opportunity. So there's a few things where it's like, okay, unfortunately for us, we remodeled it less than a year ago.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, like
normally it's an older property, and then obviously you're going to put it. Your 1960 cabinets, you're going to put in 2023 cabinets, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So the part that sucks is you're dealing with it for a long period of time, or 2 to 3 months. But then the good part is that you have the ability to get better rent, and you have the ability to remodel or fix anything that you might have wanted to fix during that time. So
right.
So luckily we're almost done.
That's good. No, that's really good. And I had find it's funny because you're going through some hassle,
right?
And some crap that you have to deal with, and I have some stuff too. Maybe then next week I can go through that. It's a little bit of a hassle, time and effort that I have to deal with, but I still, before I get there, it's funny because this is what people that hate on real estate say. Oh, that's why I'm not I don't want to get in because. Okay. Yes, you're right. These are the horror stories, if you will, that you're hearing. But me personally, everybody's choice is a little different. But I would rather have these problems than people that can't afford to live and retire problems.
Right.
So it's like choose what you want to suffer through. Obviously
choose your suffering every time.
Choose your suffering. Yeah. Choose your hard. Obviously, it's going to be difficult no matter what it is. But I'm especially as our age, we're willing to deal with a little bit of hassle, or even a good amount of hassle, knowing that in 30 years from now, we got kids going to college eventually. There's a lot of things to pay for. Unfortunately, we live in Southern California, and it's expensive it's expensive to live. And
why pick a fence?
You were just like car shopping. I mean,
right. Oh yeah.
You have 3 kids coming. You have a third kid coming. Excuse me.
Yeah. And
you're just looking at a Suburban and a Yukon. Those are like the nice ones that we see on the road that you're like, oh wow, that's a nice one. 80, 90 grand minimum.
Yeah.
$90,000.
So you know how I dropped off my car today?
For a family car.
Yeah. Well, the Denali, so the GMC Denali we wanted, the XL, starts at $84,000. Starts.
And you're at least 15 grand over that. At least for leather, navigation,
leather,
or power windows. You don't have to
power rails that come down so you can actually because
nice.
I need those.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't say it. You did.
But yeah, a lot of those things, or the
Yeah.
motion censored. When you have groceries, I don't know what it's called. There's a sensor that you swing your leg
and then the door opens.
if you have groceries or stuff.
Yeah.
That's extra. Everything's extra. So by the time you're done, you're $110,000.
And again, this is
Are you kidding me?
So it's either that or a van,
it's
right?
It's like a bread and butter car in the U.S.
Right, and it used to be. It wasn't viewed that it was the luxury vehicle at least back when I was growing up. And so long story short, it's expensive to even be middle class, you know, to even just have a normal, if you will, lifestyle that, you know, we grew up in. And so that being said, I would rather deal with tenant issues, water leaks, insurance stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not dealing with it every single day, but, you know, okay, quarterly we might be dealing with stuff, probably on average. And as we buy more real estate, that's going to happen. And so for me, it's worth it for me, but, you know, for others, they can make their decision.
No, it's worth it for me. I'd rather deal with all those headaches and then have plenty of tenants pay for my cars, my kids' school, and my hobbies and my coffee.
Exactly.
Right? So that's actually, speaking about expensive.
Technically, I paid for that.
You did.
and that.
You paid for both. Yeah, you did. Yeah
but anyways.
Can't fight that.
Yeah, speaking
But this is perfect. So expensive. What have the rates done in the last 10 to 12 days? I mean, how expensive?
Oh, they've gone way down.
2%?
Rates are that would actually be a successful video. Rates are 2%, right?
Dude, that would go.
So our second topic going in. You know, why aren't buyers buying, and why are buyers on the sideline, right? And one of the for the last 12 months has been the interest rates.
Yeah.
You know, interest rates have scaled and it hasn't. So it just hit 7% yesterday. Now we're just over 7% today. It hasn't been 7% since November, and that's when everybody and their mother was freaking out. November of 2022.
That's when everything went to, just like the brakes got pumped and nobody was buying for like 2 months.
Right.
Actually 3.
I was gonna say. I think it was more like 3.
I remember my December was super slow. December, January, February, it started picking up. But yeah, so December, January was very, very slow. It was dead.
So rates are high.
Yeah.
And so before we go into like what we're seeing today, because I know we both want to, but I've been having so many conversations with people about, you know, that everybody kind of feels it. It's, you know, they want to make a move, they want to buy a house, but it's extremely expensive. The rate, it basically makes it unattainable. Mm-hmm. And I feel for them because, you know, if I didn't buy 6 months ago, I was thinking this 7 months ago, I was able to lock in because that month rates went down just below 5%.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you bought in.
I might not be buying right now.
Closed in December, right?
No, I closed in September.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was in escrow when we went to Hawaii. Yeah, so wow. It was the end of September, early October, and rates.
That was lucky.
We were able to get through Union Bank. They had a deal for a
the force.
No.
What was the rate?
It was they had a deal for jumbo loans, 4.75.
Wow.
So I got a 30-year, not 5 years, not 7. So that's still high compared to the rates I've had before. And I have 2 rates. One at 3%, one at 3.25.
Dude, my primary is 2.5.
One of those are investment property at 3.25. Investment property.
Oh, your condo, yeah. So
No, the single family home in Texas. That's an investment.
No.
3.25 investor.
Dude, my Rubio is 2.75.
But that was second. Well, I don't want to.
Investor, because we've owned it for 7 years.
Yeah, but
we can't do a second home on that one.
There's no. Okay, I don't want to get into it, but there's no way.
We can talk about it later.
I think Kelly told me you said it was a second home when you refinanced.
When we purchased.
But how could you get a 2? Because consumer rates were 2.
I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Either way, you got it. That's great. Yeah, I think that's.
So great. We did 2 refis. Yeah. We primary in that investment. It was 2.5 and 2.75.
Yeah. No, that's great. And so I have. So this is actually the highest rate I've had is 4.75 out of all my properties.
That's
That's all 11. That's I feel.
People would kill.
I feel pretty exactly. So I've been thinking like I feel for them that. I want to make a move, whether to buy my first property or upgrade or downsize.
Yeah.
But I'm a 7% interest rate, plus prices where they're at today.
Here's an example that we just saw this week with one of our clients. We met an offer on a property, 1629. They're putting down $1.1 million. Purchase price 1629. They're putting down $1.1 million or more. and their payment would be almost $5,000.
And they're putting, what percent is that? 80? 90?
It's 6.5%. Actually, maybe more.
No, but percentage that they are putting down.
Oh, dude, it's like 85%.
Yeah, exactly.
85%.
It's almost paying cash, and it's still $5,000 a month.
And it's still $5,000 a month. And I get it. And actually, we're not going to be able to make that work. We're going to change gears and go to a different program. But
good.
I get it. I
like
see
an arm?
that. No, reverse mortgage for this client.
Oh, okay.
It's actually perfect. They're perfect candidates for that.
Good.
They can benefit from it for their entire life.
Good.
Now, not everyone.
Correct.
It's a good candidate for that,
right.
But for them, based on their goals and based on their situation, they are the perfect candidate for a reverse mortgage.
Good.
And now we can actually go higher. Now we just found out yesterday that we can go a little bit higher.
Good.
And then they're going to be okay. Like anything they work for, that they generate, any cash flow they generate, they can keep, invest, and do other things with it without having to worry about a mortgage. Good. So we're scrapping the jumbo and the conventional, and we're going this route because it just makes more sense for them. But if you're not, let's say it was you and I, and we're buying like our house, how do you afford that?
I know, I don't think you do.
I don't think you do. So what do? You stay in a very small home. Like that's crazy. Like paying $8,000 for the house that we live in. Our payment's $2,700.
It's a little more than that, but
well, with everything, yeah.
Yeah. But right, I mean, yeah, you're the next door neighbor. The guy that I don't want to give, I don't want to give too much away, but the Tesla guy. Can you imagine what his payment is? You know,
what do you put down?
I don't. I don't know, but I'm assuming he didn't buy it all cash. But even if you put 30% down, you know, I mean,
that's a lot.
He's probably triple of the number you said. I think
to $10,000 a month.
I bet he's close to that.
Before the
or
3
8.
Teslas.
I bet he's at least 8.
Before the 3 Teslas that are $2,000 or $2,500 a month. That's insane.
So right. So today, I mean,
how do we get people off the fence, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I think we can. I would say there are other programs, not your standard 30-day conventional, because I really think that sometimes people, buyers, sellers, and real estate agents get into a box and it's like, oh, 30-year fixed, like I don't want to do that. It's like, yeah, I would highly recommend that, except if you're renting and you're paying you're paying,
right.
If you're in Eastside Costa Mesa right now, on a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that's 1,200 square feet, your rent is $6,500 to $7,000 a month.
It's just nuts.
It's insane.
But Eastside Costa Mesa is nice.
Depending where you're at. If you're off of Del Mar and the 55, it's not so nice because they have apartment buildings, so you can't even park on the street sometimes. Right, so depending where you are, so it's like, okay, you got ways.
Everywhere in Eastside Costa Mesa.
Can you write off $7,000 a month?
No.
No, you can't because it's rent. What are the benefits of you paying rent of $7,000 a month each month for the next 3 years?
Well, there's no benefit.
Right.
The only benefit would be that you can bounce. There's no financial benefit, but the benefit that people talk about is that I can choose to, you know, go anywhere I want whenever after my lease term.
Okay,
great. If I buy a house, I'm stuck there. Actually, people think for 30 years. You know,
you can sell it, you can rent it, you can do a lot of things with it.
Right.
So I would say it depends on the situation, based on how much you pay for rent, based on what you can afford. I mean, because you can always buy something, and you can move to another place that's more affordable. You can go to South County. You can go to Carlsbad. You know, Carlsbad is very affordable still. You can buy a 4-bedroom house for $875 in Carlsbad. That house in Orange County is $1.7 million, 1.6.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the commute to get there is 35 minutes.
But let's say this. So let's say, let's give an example that might be able to relate, and tell me if this is a realistic example. So let's say if I were going to go rent a house, single family home, let's say it's 1,700 square feet, so kind of like an entry or level single family home in Lake Forest, let's say. Not Eastside Costa Mesa. So let's say to rent that would be about $4,000.
$4,500.
Sure. 40 Lake Forest, it might be like 42, you know.
Grandma's house, yes.
You know, so that's, you know, $4,000. You know what? I'll 1,700 square feet. I think you're right. $4,500 to own it. putting, let's say, 10% down would probably cost you above 5,500.
Right. But
Let's say 5,800. I think that's so 45, 58, and I think that's I think that is a realistic example. So
it is. What are the benefits though?
no, I know the benefits. I know.
You reduce your tax liability.
No, I understand.
You get appreciation.
We can get into that, but I think the consumer is seeing shit. That's another $1,200-$1,300 more when rent is already flipping super high.
Get rid of the Tesla. I drive a Honda. Get rid of the Tesla. Get rid of the Escalade.
You want to trade Hondas?
No. Mine is better.
Yeah.
Mine is better. Mine has 8 seats.
How about we trade and I keep my payment?
No.
Come on.
No, we're not going to do that. But it's like...
But hold on.
So,
do you see what I'm saying?
of course.
4,500, but to buy it, to own it is 5,800. That's a realistic. Plus, I have to come up with 10% or 5% or whatever.
I
so
completely
I have to
agree.
pay all this money.
Yeah.
I can potentially barely make 4,500 work, but now I need to figure out how to make sense of 58.
I think it depends. Yeah.
And down payment, closing costs.
If you-
So the benefits are 1/3 of your payment goes to principal.
Right.
What are the other benefits?
So 1/3 goes to the principal. The other one is you reduce your tax liability because of the interest, so you get to write that off. And the third
So you probably
thing-
get a couple thousand a year from that, 2,000?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Yeah.
And the third one, which is the best one, is the appreciation.
Right.
Can you save that much
Right.
in appreciation in that short period of time? And in Orange County, it's been over 18% for the last 3 years.
So an example of that, real quick, and then I'll let you continue.
Yeah.
Is and I think this is a good point. So that that home in Lake Forest, let's say, will cost you $1 million.
For simple math, yeah.
Let's say you put 10% down, which is 100,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Conservatively, if appreciation goes up 6%,
That's very conservative.
thank you. So let's just say that.
Yeah.
It's probably 8 to 9%, but let's say 6.
On average, has been about 8.
Let's say 6.
Yeah.
So the appreciation,
Per year is $60,000 a year. Yeah.
my down, which is 60,000 a year,
Right.
I don't get the 6% of my down payment, which was 100,000.
Do you lose your down payment?
No.
Right.
No, I do not. So on paper, the appreciation in year one, if we were to get 6% appreciation, would be 60,000. So I bought it today for $1 million. A year from now, it would be worth roughly $1,060,000. I probably would make the argument it's worth more than that a year from now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But for a year, 1/3 of my payment. So let's say your principal and interest is like $4,500, but with everything it's $58,000.
Right.
$4,500. So that's $1,300 a month goes towards paying off your debt, which is
Let's keep it simple.
$15,000 a year
Yeah.
that you're putting in your back pocket, right?
That's a savings account.
Yeah.
Let's keep it very simple. So appreciation, you probably, if you buy a property for $1 million today and the appreciation continues at 6% instead of 18%, you're going to have $60,000 in 12 months.
Yes.
Can you save $60,000 in 12 months? Most people can't.
Most people can't.
Most people can't. So that's one. Not including the tax savings from your W-2 jobs and all those things when you file for taxes. The other thing that you can look at is this. If you don't buy the house, you're going to pay rent. And you're going to pay $4,500 a month. So let's say it's, I don't know, $54,000.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, $54,000 out of pocket that you pay. You didn't make $60,000. You paid and you lost $60,000. So you're at $110,000 loss with opportunity cost if you include that in there. If you look at it as an investment, you lost $110,000. You didn't lose $60,000. You lost $110,000 at least.
Because what you're saying is what I could have done with my money.
Right.
Well, and the other thing too.
And people, here's the other thing, just to finish that thought. People are putting money into Bitcoin and some of the like Facebook stocks and like all this stupid stuff. Okay, go get your Bitcoin to buy properties. You can't do that. People are not willing to take it. Maybe some people will, but
I had a client do that. He put in this much into Bitcoin. It turned into this much.
Yeah.
He sold it, turned it into cash.
Oh, he was he
Correct.
liquidated.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did. But that was one example I had. But I thought that was pretty cool because he actually, for like a couple $100, he came up with like, I think he put like 10% down because of it.
That's
this was anyway. But I would never encourage people to do that because that was he won on Russian roulette. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
But the other benefit that people don't also think about, so we went in taxes, paying off your debt, so a portion of your house payment goes to paying off the loan you obtained. You can't do that with rent. Tax benefits, appreciation, paying off your debt. The fourth benefit that I see is that you have a fixed payment. So we were just talking about your rent for this month, or for this 12 months of $4,500. What is it going to be on month 13? It's probably not $4,500. It might be $4,700, at least $46,500.
For the landlords, we're going to increase it by 8.9%.
Yeah, but even if you only increase it by 5-6%, you're at least a couple $100 more.
You're going to be close to $5,000.
You know, you'll be pushing $5,000. Let's just say $4,700. He was nice and only did $200.
Yeah.
40. So that's so now you're only $1,000 off hard costs of
Year one.
where you exactly. So you know that's another thing. It's like if you want to be in control of your monthly payment, I think the best way
in your house
is owning your house. And then let's say you take, and this I'll finish my thoughts on this is, let's say you buy the property, you get that high payment, you know that it can never go above that.
Right. For
it
30
most
years,
likely
if you don't
will go below that.
Yeah.
Whenever rates do come down. So you know hopefully they come down a couple percent and you refinance.
Yeah.
Likely you'll come down a little bit lower than 58.
Right.
Now you don't plan on that. You got to run your numbers at, hey, I have to keep it at 58 for 30 years. But there's a high chance that you're not going to have to keep a 7% interest rate for 30 years.
Correct. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. So, speaking of, so where can people buy? Okay, let's go over inventory really quick. So, what is the inventory doing? I think we know that it keeps shrinking. Even though the rates keep going up and up for the last 10, 12 days,
Right.
the inventory is not getting better.
Yeah, it's getting almost worse.
So, where can people buy? Right? If your budget is, let's say your budget is only $5,000 a month for a mortgage with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, where do you buy? What would you buy? A 3-bedroom
A different
house?
state. No, yeah.
That's a different story.
I would.
What do you buy in Orange County? Where do you buy, or where, or if you work in
Orange County, it would be very
Irvine.
hard. Yeah. So okay, so you live in Irvine. You have a $5,000 monthly payment that you want to stay with.
You work in Irvine, so you're commuting to Irvine.
You're probably gonna be in Anaheim, Placentia.
Yep.
If again, I'm thinking like single family.
Yep.
Anaheim, Placentia, house that needs work.
Whittier.
You know, yeah, it could even be that. I don't think you're going to get anything in South County or even anything in Rancho or in Rancho Santa Margarita or Lake Forest. You won't get any of that unless you want a condo townhome style. You could push that, but
Which is not bad because there are detached condos out there or townhomes that are actually that feel like a single family home. That's 2 stories, but yeah, it's not ideal, but
correct.
It gets you into the game.
If that's your first one, I've done that. I've owned 2 condos before getting to my single family.
Yeah.
And for me, if I didn't own those condos, I would not have been able to get to the single family because I was able to use my my equity and my appreciation to help level up. So for me, it actually helped me get to where I wanted to go. And then this single family home is going to help me get to the next one. You know, kind of about a smaller single family home that I'm really, really thankful for. But I think you need to be a little bit creative and you need to be open on your location. And I think, go out a little bit. Or if you want to stay a little bit more local, you're going to have to get a smaller property like a, townhome. So that's what I see.
But here's the other thing too that I see, and I don't think we talk about it enough. Opportunities come and go, and when they show up, you have to move fast. If you're sleeping at the wheel, you're like, oh, I'll go look at it this weekend, maybe next week. Oh, something came up, and then you're 2 weeks out. You're not gonna get it. Yeah. So if your agent's telling you like, oh, hey, here's an opportunity that came up. I just saw it came on the market today. Be flexible to go see it that same day or within 48 hours before it goes. And
especially today, it will.
It will go fast.
We just tried to property's only been on the market 3 days. I booked a showing to see it tomorrow, and they
got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it went on the market on Monday probably.
Because there's just not enough homes.
Right.
Yesterday there was 2,100 homes for sale in Orange County.
Yeah.
You normally have 6,000 to 7,000. So
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I would say moving quickly, being completely pre-approved, having proof of funds ready.
That's right.
So when agents are writing the offers, you want to be ready to go, and don't fight them on it because they're probably not going to know better than what most people know.
Correct.
And also, if you see properties that look ugly on the pictures, go see them anyways.
Yeah.
Because if the floor plan matches,
right.
Put some lipstick on it, or do a rehab on it. It's going to be cheaper.
Right.
You get it for a discount.
Right.
Like sometimes, we're doing one in Whittier right now that one of my clients bought 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
$525.
Dang.
We're gonna go to market at $850.
Dang. That's
Guess
great.
how much is the rehab? Less than $100,000.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And that happens all the time though.
Right.
We just don't have enough money to buy them.
Right.
It's just like they are out there and people miss them because they're ugly.
That's right. Yeah, nobody wants an ugly house if you could try to get the property that's been fully renovated, which is why that's going to sell for $850, right?
Right.
And you'll probably have multiple.
Let's say worst case scenario $800.
Yeah.
You still got it at $525.
Exactly, and you're going to have multiple offers at $850,
Right.
And so that being said, I think if you are looking for a specific budget, be open-minded as to location and then the type of property. You can't. Even if you have a large budget, you really can't be too picky because there's just not a whole lot of options available right now.
Right.
And that's why this market hasn't crashed in Orange County. We haven't seen prices come down 20%. It would be helpful because rates are up, 100%.
Right.
But that being said, now where do you think the market's going throughout this year and into next year? Like we see low inventory right now. We see rates at 7%. We see the market a little bit neutral, but more so erring on the seller side, having multiple offers right now over the last month. What do you think is going to happen in a year or two?
I think for the next 16, 18 months, we're going to start seeing a little bit more inventory, but the inventory shortage is going to continue because of what's happening in the market. Next year is an election year.
That's
so
right.
I don't think it's going to get better. I think we're going to continue to see shortage of inventory. In regards to the prices of homes, I think there could be an adjustment if the rates continue to be at 7% or high sixes. We could see an adjustment down or a slowdown. Not an adjustment, it's a slowdown of growth because it's been growing at 16 to 20%. That's stupid, but it is what it is.
That's not
we don't have enough homes to sell. And we have people moving from San Francisco, from Seattle, from Portland, from other places, from LA. If you bought a home right now in, let's say, Palo Alto or Menlo Park, somewhere in around San Francisco areas, the nicer, older areas that are high end, you can buy a property for 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom for $2 million.
Dang. That's a steal. I'm kidding.
And it's going to have multiple offers.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But you come out here for $2 million, you're not going to be in Newport Coast.
Right.
But you can be in a nice community in Irvine. You can have a big house in Codo.
For sure you can.
With half an acre.
Right.
So when people come
That's
here...
what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so when people come here, they're
especially from there, it looks like a value. It looks like what the Californians in another state.
Right.
It's with the same stuff that we see.
They're coming from those cities to here. They're like, oh, this is a deal. I just buy this. I'll buy that. I'll build on this house by in Laguna Beach. I'll do all those things. So it's just perspective.
Yeah.
It's really perspective, and I think because of what Southern California is, it's gonna continue to have a shortage of inventory. The prices will be stable, regardless of the rates are high, because there's so much money in the market.
There is, especially here. Yeah. Not in every single market, but there's so much money here.
And that's when you have so much money.
Especially, we're both not from Orange County.
I am. You're from Washington, right? Washington?
And so this market, there is just so much money here. It's its own market.
Yeah, so I would say because of who we are in this market, it's going to continue moving forward. I think we're going to see a slight adjustment, but I would say my recommendation is get into the game so you're not out of the game.
Completely agree with that. Yeah, and I think we'll see more of the same,
Yeah.
where I mean, if rates stay the same at 6 to 7%, we're seeing more of the same. Inventory is super tight. The market just kind of bouncing a little bit back and forth between buyer and seller every other month. And the payments are super high, and buyers, the majority of people are having a hard time accepting that, swallowing that pill. My other thing is I think that if rates come down to like 5%, something more, a little bit more reasonable, I think the market's going to more so take off like it did in 2021.
But see, what's reasonable? You're saying 5% is reasonable? Do you know what the average is? What has been the average since 1971?
It's like 7.8 or 9%.
7.25. That is the average.
I think it's reasonable, that, but it's high. Yeah.
Based on the research that I saw, it was 7.25 or something like that.
Yeah.
So let's say it was 7%. We're at the average.
Yeah.
So what is reasonable if you look at the last 50, 60 years?
Yeah, but it's the affordability index. It's unreasonable right now at 7%, and the prices where they are.
Well, think about it too. I think part of the problem is people spend more money than they used to.
Absolutely.
Than the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Yeah.
So I think it's that they didn't have Amazon.
Right.
Netflix. They didn't have Starbucks.
Yeah.
So Starbucks, Amazon, we have on-demand services. They didn't have Netflix that you pay for. Disney Plus. Think about all the subscriptions. Apple TV, YouTube TV, Disney Plus, Netflix, all those shows, whatever you pay for that. Those. Then you go into Starbucks.
Right.
We almost make it a daily habit. Amazon. How many packages from Amazon did
and then you drink my coffee.
But think about all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then you have Teslas. People are paying a premium. You have young kids in their 20s driving Teslas.
Yeah, I do.
I see 20-year, probably 17-year-olds driving SUVs. How are they? Who's buying those for them? And then people complain about a house payment.
Right.
You don't live in the car.
Right.
You don't live at Starbucks.
Some people are paying payments to live in the car. Yeah.
Right. So see, that's a problem.
Some of those payments. Yeah.
I honestly think the people complain is because their priorities are in the wrong places.
Yeah.
And we spend too much as a society now than we did before.
We do.
So then when you go look at a house, like, well, I can't afford it because I pay $2,000 in car payments.
Right.
Why'd you do that?
Right.
You see what I mean? So I think people need a reality check, and that's going to help them. It needs really perspective. If you go to other countries, if you go to other parts of the country, they don't really do that. If you go to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, they don't really do that. Some places in Texas that I've been to, they don't really do that.
True.
So I think it's the perspective and also the culture or the environment that we're in Orange County, because we have so much wealth, and there are people that can afford those cars and those houses with their eyes closed.
Correct.
But not everybody can.
But the average person can't. But we have more than keeping up with the Joneses, right? Because it's like, oh, well, they drive that, right? But it's like, we're doing the math, and it's like, dude, this doesn't add up. Or if it does, I'm like, dude, I don't want to have to pay for that,
Yeah, it's funny.
Just because I can doesn't mean that I that I have to jump in.
I was telling one of my clients 2 weeks ago when they were in town, is after I got the Honda, and I was telling them I was driving like right behind this brand new like beautiful Escalade that my wife wants and we can't afford. And so he's driving, so he's telling me about it, and then I see one in driving, and then I see it pull up into the apartments, and then I keep seeing it pulling up into there. In the morning, so I'm like, you're telling me that you can afford $120,000 on a car payment, but you live in an apartment? That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, how does that happen? Like, why would you ever?
I mean, the car's cool. Don't get me wrong.
I love the car. Yeah. I still love the car.
But
do you live in it?
Right.
Yeah,
they maybe should.
Right. Yeah. Just live in the car. Move into it. But
this market is definitely interesting. So more of the same. And,
I think we're going to see more of the same for the next 18 months. I mean, after the election, we'll see what happens. But I think hopefully the government or the Fed reduces the rates a little bit, so more people can afford, because
that would be helpful.
Or frankly, I think the best thing that the government can do in this case, and the Fed, is don't get involved.
Yeah.
Because
it's going to be hard with an election coming up.
I know, but when they print in more money, they just give more money to people that know how to use the money and buy more real estate, and all the little...
I did.
Oh, I did too, right? So it just... if you don't know how to use leverage, you're going to miss out again. You're going to be competing with people that know how to use leverage. And that's the challenge is people are having a hard time because they're not financially educated.
For sure. And I think that, dude, when I was in college and like I was zero financially educated, you know.
Most of us are.
Yeah, I was zero. And then even, I started, and then college didn't really, unfortunately, teach me too much about finances. I learned a little bit, but like everything I know now has been from books I've read, classes I've taken.
Yeah.
And just stuff I've networked with other people and learned from other real estate investors, and just how to leverage property, how to not go buy an RV with that, but go buy another property, so you keep it going forward. So I feel like the lack of financial education is one, and then also especially in our marketplace where keeping up with the Joneses, it's
right.
like, hey, just forget what they're doing, and also like listen to people's advice. Like just because they tell you to go buy that car, you are the one that has to pay that month in, month out.
Yeah.
And so I just gave that advice to somebody that, hey, if you want to go buy that vehicle, do it. But I know that this and this and this.
Were they buying it because they needed it, or because other people were saying they should buy it?
They wanted it, but this person didn't necessarily need this type of car.
Got it.
But they were getting advice that they need that type of car. And you like, hey, do it, but make sure you want that and you're okay like footing that bill every single month, because they don't have to pay that. So anybody can just like, oh yeah, everybody here just at this company drives that type of car, like you should, and so just if you're willing to do it, just know that you'll be on the hook for that.
Right.
So going into our last thing, do we see? Do you have any opinions on certain markets crashing or having a different, like the opposite of results of Orange County?
I think inland, and when I say inland, I would say like Mid-America, Idaho, Utah.
You think they'll have pullback?
Yeah,
prices coming down maybe
between the central states. I think they're gonna have a bigger adjustment, because I don't see any flex of Californians going to Idaho anymore. I used to initially, but I think people are
starting to slow down. That's what you're saying.
It's starting to slow down. Not only that, people that have lived in the snow for a couple of years are tired of it.
Got it.
It's an acquired. I would say just taste.
Yeah.
Because I lived in it for 2 years, so I know what it's like. And who wants snow for 5-6 months of the year? Not many people do. So.
Is Idaho like that long? I thought it was only 1 or 2 months.
Thanksgiving to May normally.
Really?
Yeah. Although this year has been weird, because they've been getting 80-degree weather.
Yeah, the global warming.
And we're getting 62, 63. So I would say those states are gonna slow down a little bit.
Okay.
And also, there's not a whole lot of incentives for investors to go invest in those areas anymore.
Besides,
there are some pockets
friendly.
Yeah.
Landlord friendly.
Right. So, there are some pockets here and there, but not as much as you used to see it. Okay. So, I think those markets are going to have a bigger adjustment or a bigger slowdown, I would say.
Yeah.
Their inventory is going to go
here.
up compared to here.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I also, to piggyback on that, I do agree with that. I also think like secondary markets, such as like second homes.
Yeah.
So maybe places like Palm Springs or certain destinations in Florida that are just like second home, retire. I think that potentially could pull back a little bit, because as the economy potentially tightens more, I think that discretionary like spending on unnecessary things can start to tighten. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing vacation markets start to kind of pull back a little bit too.
Oh, it already started a couple of weeks ago. So one of the things that I've seen and I've learned about the Coachella Valley for the last 20 years and for the last 9 years, Laguna Beach, is the Coachella Valley is very cyclical. So it's super sensitive to interest rates, politics, and some of the other things. So as soon as the rates started climbing up, the inventory started doing this. And then when the rates dropped again, the inventory started going down, days on market went down. So days on market were at 35 days, then they jumped to like 12 days. In a period of like 2-3 weeks. Pendings are up, and then so it was super weird. So, but it happens all the time. If you look at the history for the last 10 years, it's done that. So it's very, very cyclical. Another market
very
that's
sensitive to what's going on.
Very, very sensitive. Yeah. Another market that's like that is Laguna Beach in Orange County. Very, very sensitive to rates. Very, very sensitive to politics and other things. And it makes sense because a lot of those properties are second homes.
Yeah.
And I would say that's the only city in Orange County that I've seen that is super cyclical, like Palm Springs. All the other cities are not like that. That one is. Yeah, so like right now we have listings there, and it just...
Yeah.
We received offers, counterback, crickets.
Got it. Okay, then they just go away.
Disappear.
Yeah, I always hate when that happens.
I know. Multiple offers. So we use multiple offers, and you counterback, and some of them you don't even counterback the price, and it's just terms.
Right. And then
crickets.
Just walk away. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you start seeing more properties that are ocean view properties coming down. Price reductions. You start seeing everybody doing price reductions. So we're all doing price reductions.
Yeah.
But it's like then we start chasing the market.
Right.
And
so
fun. It's interesting. Yeah. But it just, I would say, I mean, opportunities are going to happen here and there. But I would just say that for those areas, you're going to see price drop because of the second home market.
Yeah.
Rental market, second home, you're going to see drops on those. Yeah. Because prime is insane.
Yeah. No, it is. And like we talked about last week, multiple offers and, just stuff really ramping back up.
Yeah. And I would say, too, is like all the buyers that are 20% down or less are interested and not committed.
Yeah. 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 It needs to really make sense for them to move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in wrapping up, financial education. Yeah. And if anybody has any questions on or need some book recommendations, we both have several books that we could recommend to anybody that wants to have just a little bit of financial education just to kind of get the feet off the ground. But other than that,
that's it.
We'll sign it off.
Hasta la vista.